Your ability to read people and respond wisely will decide the quality of your relationships, your opportunities, and your life. Most people listen to words, but they miss what really matters: tone, timing, energy, and behavior. They speak too fast, react too soon, and wonder why their message doesn't land. Social intelligence is not a skill for a few. It's essential for anyone who wants to lead, connect, or grow. This isn't about manipulation. This is about learning to pay attention. It's about knowing how to walk into any room, see what's going on, and respond in a way that makes people feel seen, heard, and respected. You're not here to guess what people mean. You're here to understand it. You're not here to impress. You're here to connect. This audiobook will teach you the habits, mindset, and practical tools to become sharper in every interaction. If you've ever struggled to say the right thing or wished you handled people better, this is your roadmap. Social intelligence changes everything. Starting now. Chapter 1. Master how people feel by watching their behavior. If you want to become someone who moves through the world with influence, connection, and respect, you have to understand one powerful skill. Watch how people behave, not just what they say. Behavior tells the truth. If you're serious about improving your life, building stronger relationships, and growing into the kind of person others trust and listen to, this is where you begin. Not with fancy words, not with trying to impress anyone, but by learning to notice what most people ignore. You see, people show you everything. They show you how they feel, how they think, and what matters to them. But most people aren't paying attention. They're too focused on themselves. They walk into a room thinking, how do I look? What should I say? Do people like me? And because of that, they miss the signs. They miss what's really going on. But if you train your mind to watch behavior instead of chasing approval, you gain something far more valuable. You gain clarity. You start to understand people, not just what they're saying, but what they're really trying to say underneath it all. Watch how a person sits when they're upset. Their shoulders drop. Their eyes avoid contact. They become small. Watch how someone lights up when they're proud. Head up, voice steady, eyes sharp. You don't need a psychology degree to see it. You need attention. That's all. Noticing takes no money. It takes no connections. It just takes a decision to start being more aware of what people show you when they don't know you're watching. Now, why is this important? Because everything in your life involves people. Business involves people. Leadership involves people. Friendships, family, partnerships. All of it is people. And the person who knows how to read behavior without guessing or assuming becomes valuable in any room. Most people walk into conversations only thinking about what to say next. But smart people, people who get ahead, they listen with their eyes. They listen to posture, to energy, to tone, to silence, because those things don't lie. And here's the truth. People often say what sounds good, but they act on what they really feel. So if you want to connect with someone, you've got to get past their words. You've got to see what they feel, even when they won't say it. You do that by paying attention to patterns, not just once, not just twice, but over time. You watch how they act when they're tired, how they act when they're around different people, how they treat people who can't give them anything. That's how you learn who someone really is. You walk into a meeting. Who's looking around the room nervously? Who keeps checking their phone? Who leans in when they talk? Who keeps their arms folded? All of this tells you something. And once you get good at this, you'll never feel lost in social situations again. You'll stop second-guessing how people feel about you. You'll stop wasting energy trying to decode mixed signals. You'll start responding to reality, not assumptions. Let's get even more practical. You're in a conversation and the other person starts to tap their foot. They're not bored. They're probably anxious. Maybe they're running out of time. Maybe they're uncomfortable. But now you know. You can respond with calm. You can shift the pace. That's real intelligence, not book smarts, but people smarts. That's what changes your life. Think about this. How many arguments happen because people react to what was said, not to how the other person really felt? They miss the emotion behind the words. They get defensive. They take things personally. But a person who reads behavior knows something deeper is happening. They stay calm. They ask the right question. They respond with understanding, not emotion. That's how conflicts dissolve. That's how respect is built. You want to build better relationships? Start noticing the signs. If someone always avoids eye contact when you talk about a certain topic, there's something there. If someone suddenly starts talking louder around a specific person, they're trying to prove something. People will show you their fears, their pride, their discomfort, and their joy, if you're paying attention. And when you start mastering this, something shifts in you too. You become more grounded. You stop reacting to everything. You stop chasing approval. You learn to move with wisdom. That's not just social intelligence. That's emotional control. That's maturity. That's leadership. Because the person who notices more responds better. They don't overtalk. They don't overreact. They don't miss what matters. They stay steady while others are guessing. And that's power. That's what people respect. That's what people follow. It's not about being perfect. It's not about knowing everything. It's about being present. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be there fully. People know when you're with them. They feel it. And once you get that part right, your words start to matter more too. Why? Because people trust the person who understands them. Not just the one who talks well, but the one who listens with their eyes, who sees the unsaid, who responds with truth, not ego. So where do you begin? You begin with a choice. Every room you walk into, every person you talk to, start paying attention. Watch their behavior before you speak. Notice how they carry themselves, how fast they speak, where their eyes go. What happens when you ask them a serious question? Are they relaxed? Are they hiding? Are they confident? Every moment tells you something. And the best part? Once you start noticing others, you'll also start noticing yourself. You'll catch your own habits. You'll realize when you're nervous, when you're trying too hard, when you're shutting down. That awareness will help you grow, because you can't fix what you don't see. But once you see it, you can change it. You can improve your presence. You can control your tone. You can shift your habits. And the more you grow, the more people will feel it. You won't even have to say much. People will feel it. You won't even have to say much. People will feel it. They'll respond to the way you show up. Because truth connects, awareness attracts, and behavior, real behavior, never lies. So decide right now to stop guessing how people feel. Watch, listen, be present, and respond with understanding. That's how social intelligence is built. One moment at a time, one conversation at a time, one choice at a time. Keep doing that, and your relationships will change. Your opportunities will grow. And most importantly, you will grow, not just in knowledge, but in wisdom, not just in speech, but in understanding. And that kind of growth, that lasts a lifetime. Chapter 2. Listen fully to understand, not just to reply. Most people hear words, but they don't really listen. They wait for a pause so they can speak. They're focused on making a point, not on understanding one. But if you want to build real influence, if you want people to respect you and feel connected to you, then you need to develop a rare and powerful skill. Listen fully to understand, not just to reply. This one habit will change the way people talk to you. It will change the way they trust you. It will change how they open up to you. Because when someone feels heard, they feel valued, they feel safe, they feel respected. And there's nothing more powerful than being the person who makes others feel like they matter. Listening isn't about staying quiet. It's not about nodding while your mind races ahead. It's about giving your full attention. It means being present, not halfway, not distracted, not checking your phone or forming your argument in your head. It means looking at the person in front of you and focusing on what they're saying, how they're saying it, and what they might be feeling underneath their words. You can't understand someone if your only goal is to be right. You can't understand someone if you interrupt halfway through because you think you've already got the answer. People don't open up to someone who cuts them off. They don't trust someone who doesn't let them finish. They stop trying. They close up. They learn to stay quiet around you because they know you're not really there for them, you're there for yourself. You want better relationships? Learn to listen without trying to win. You want to lead people? Learn to hear their fear before you give advice. You want to solve problems faster? Pay attention to what's really being said instead of jumping in with solutions. Now here's what most don't realize. Real listening takes effort. It's active, it requires mental discipline. You have to slow yourself down. You have to stop the habit of rehearsing your reply while the other person is still talking. You have to stop trying to sound smart. Stop trying to be impressive. Focus instead on being present. It takes strength to listen without judging. It takes character to hear someone's story without needing to correct them. But when you do, something powerful happens. People start to trust you. They start to come to you. They start to share more with you. Why? Because you're giving them what most of the world doesn't. Your attention. Attention is a gift, a rare one. In a world full of noise and speed and ego, the person who can sit down, look you in the eye, and listen to you until you finish your thought, that person stands out. That person becomes memorable. That person becomes valuable. When someone's going through something hard, they don't want advice right away. They want to be understood. They want someone to say, "I hear you," not, "You should have done this." Not, "I went through the same thing, let me tell you what happened to me." No, just someone who hears them. Because understanding has power. It heals. It connects. It builds trust where there was none. You'll notice that people start to relax around you. They'll drop their guard. You won't even have to say much. Just being fully there, listening, will be enough. And the best part is, when you really understand someone, your response will be better. You won't waste words, you won't talk in circles. You'll say the right thing because you actually took in what they meant, not just what they said. That's the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is automatic, it's fast, it's defensive. Responding is thoughtful, it's calm, it's based on understanding. And people can feel the difference. They feel safer when you respond, not when you react. Think of the last time you talked to someone who wasn't really listening. You could feel it. Their eyes were elsewhere. Their answers didn't match your question. They nodded at the wrong time. You walked away feeling empty, maybe even frustrated. Now, think of the last time someone truly listened to you. You felt lighter. You felt seen. You felt better. That's what you can give others if you commit to this skill. Now, don't make the mistake of thinking this is just about conversations. This is about your whole life. At work, if you're the one who listens clearly, you'll solve the right problems. You'll avoid mistakes. You'll build stronger teams. At home, if you listen to your partner, your child, your parents, not just hear them, but truly listen, you'll build trust that lasts. You'll avoid unnecessary arguments. You'll be the calm in the storm. Listening is also how you learn. You can't grow if you already think you know everything. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every story has a lesson. Every moment has something to teach you, if you're paying attention. But you have to quiet your own voice sometimes, not just your mouth, but your inner voice, the one that's always trying to prove something, the one that wants to interrupt, the one that's afraid of being wrong. Quiet that voice and listen. Just listen. Even if you disagree, especially if you disagree. That's where growth happens. That's where connection happens. You'll find that the more you listen, the more you'll understand people. And when you understand them, you'll know how to speak to them. You'll know how to lead them. You'll know how to help them. But it starts by listening, not to reply, not to impress, but to understand. Make this part of your daily life. Practice it everywhere, in meetings, in phone calls, in the small talks at the store. Pay full attention when someone is talking to you. Don't check your phone. Don't look over their shoulder. Look them in the eye. Listen until they finish. Then take a breath before you respond. Let them know you were with them the whole way. This takes time, it takes work, it takes awareness. But the reward is worth it. People will notice. They'll feel the difference. And you'll become the kind of person others trust, respect, and rely on. Not because you talk the most, not because you have all the answers, but because you gave them what matters most, your attention and your understanding. That's how you build real influence. That's how you build lasting relationships. That's how you grow, personally, socially, and professionally. By listening not just to words, but to people. Fully, completely, genuinely, not to reply, but to understand. And when you do, everything in your life begins to change. One conversation at a time, one connection at a time, one moment of presence at a time. That's the power of listening. Chapter 3. Build trust by showing honest interest in others. If you want people to trust you, it starts with something simple. Be real and care about them for who they are, not for what they can give you. Trust isn't built through words alone. It's built through presence. It's built through attention. It's built when you stop treating people like tools and start treating them like human beings. Everyone can sense whether your interest in them is genuine or forced. They can feel when you're talking just to be polite, and they can feel when you're really there with them. And the truth is, nobody opens up to someone who doesn't care. Trust grows slowly, not through big speeches, but through consistent little actions that show people you're for real. And one of the most powerful actions you can take is showing honest interest in others. Not fake smiles, not scripted compliments, but true curiosity. When someone talks about what matters to them, and you actually want to understand, not just listen, but understand, that's when something shifts. People lower their guard, they soften, they start to trust. Not because you told them to, but because they feel seen. Now, don't confuse interest with flattery. Don't pretend to care just so you can get close to someone. That never works in the long run. Real interest is quiet. It's humble. It doesn't try to impress. It just listens, asks, and cares. You don't need clever lines. You don't need to force anything. You just need to show up with the mindset that people matter, that their life is worth your attention. Start small. Ask how someone's really doing, and wait for the real answer. Most people ask, "How are you?" and move on before the other person even finishes saying, "Good." That's not interest. That's a routine. But if you ask and pause, if you look someone in the eye and give them space to speak, they'll feel the difference. Maybe they won't share everything right away, but they'll notice that you're not like everyone else. And that's the beginning of trust. You don't have to ask deep questions. Start with what they care about, what they're working on, what matters to them. And when they answer, don't bring it back to yourself. Don't say, "Oh yeah, I've done that too," and shift the conversation. Keep the focus on them. That doesn't mean you don't share. It just means you don't steal the spotlight. Let their experience breathe. Let their story be heard. Trust is lost when people feel like they're being used. When someone gets the sense that you're only interested in them because you want something, the connection breaks. That's why you need to lead with sincerity. If you can't be real, don't pretend. People respect honesty more than charm. You might not say the perfect thing, but if your interest is honest, people will feel it. They'll remember how you made them feel. Now, here's something important. Don't just show interest when it benefits you. Show interest even when there's nothing in it for you. That's how people know you're the real deal. When you take the time to check in with someone who can't promote you, can't pay you, can't offer you anything just because you care, that builds trust like nothing else. It says you see them as a person, not a transaction. And you know what happens when you build that kind of trust? People start bringing their real selves around you. They open up more. They show their true thoughts. They feel comfortable. That's when you stop having shallow conversations and start having real ones. That's when people begin to share ideas, challenges, and goals that matter. And because you're someone they trust, they invite you into their world. Don't underestimate how much of a difference this makes in every part of life. In business, people want to work with people they trust. Not just people who are skilled, but people who care. In friendships, people want to talk to someone who listens without judgment. In relationships, they want to be understood without pressure. It all starts with the same principle: show honest interest. This doesn't mean you need to be available 24/7. It means that when you're with someone, you're really there. When they speak, you care. When they share, you listen. And when they need space, you respect it. That balance, that emotional intelligence, is what separates people who just connect from people who truly build trust. People remember moments, not speeches. They remember how you responded when they were nervous. They remember if you paid attention when they were unsure. They remember if you looked away while they were talking. They remember if you asked about something important to them the next time you saw them. These little moments, over time, stack up, and they become the foundation of trust. And here's the key: make it a habit. Don't save it for special occasions. Don't only do it when you need something. Make showing honest interest part of who you are. Every day you'll have chances to notice people, to ask how they're doing, to follow up on something they mentioned last week, to celebrate a small win with them, to check in when they're quiet. These things don't take long, but they mean everything. When you live this way, people start to count on you. They turn to you not because you have all the answers, but because they know you care enough to be real. And in a world full of noise and surface-level talk, that kind of connection stands out. One thing to remember: you don't have to force deep conversations. Just be available for them. Show that you're open, that you're not rushing, that you're not judging. And if someone does open up, protect that space. Don't share their story, don't twist it. Respect it. Trust takes time to build and seconds to break. Guard it with how you act when people are vulnerable with you. Also understand that some people take longer to open up. Not everyone trusts easily. That's okay. Don't push. Just keep being consistent. Keep showing up. Keep paying attention. Over time, even the most guarded people start to feel safe when they're around someone who's steady, honest, and kind. There's no shortcut to building trust, but there is a clear path, and it begins with honest interest. Not performance, not strategy, but simple, genuine care. And the beautiful thing is, this is something anyone can do. It doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is. If you want to be a person of influence, a person who's respected, a person who others turn to, you can be. Start by showing people they matter. Start by caring enough to notice them. Start by listening when they speak and remembering what they said. That's how trust is built. Slowly, genuinely, through actions that speak louder than any words, through the way you show up every single day. And when you make this your way of living, people will not only trust you, they'll believe in you. And that will open doors in your life that you never thought possible. Not because you asked, but because you cared.
Chapter 4. Read the room and adjust your tone fast. Every time you walk into a room, there's more going on than what's being said. People might be quiet, but their energy speaks. Faces say more than words. Silence has a temperature, and if you're not paying attention to that, you're going to miss the moment. You'll say the wrong thing at the wrong time, or worse, in the wrong tone, and that can cost you respect, connection, and influence. The most effective people in any situation know how to walk in, read what's going on, and adjust their tone fast. You don't get to control the room, but you do get to control your energy. The problem is, most people are so focused on what they want to say, they never stop to feel the room first. They're prepared with their message, their plan, their intention, but they're blind to the moment. And the moment is everything. Because what works in one environment can fall flat in another, and the tone that inspires in one group might offend the next. Tone isn't just volume, it's your energy, it's your pace. It's how you make people feel with your presence, and people notice it before you say a single word. They notice it in your walk, in your face, in the way you look at them. You can be saying all the right words, but if your tone is off, you lose them. Maybe you're too serious in a light moment. Maybe you're too loud in a tense one. Maybe you're too casual when the mood is focused. These little mismatches add up, and if they keep happening, people start to feel like you don't get them, like you're not tuned in, like you're out of sync. And once people feel that, they pull away. They stop listening. They stop engaging. Not because they don't like you, but because they don't feel understood by you. Reading the room starts with one thing: awareness, not of yourself, but of everyone else. When you walk in, pause. Don't start talking. Look around. Who's talking the most? Who's quiet? Who's avoiding eye contact? Who's leaning in? Who looks tense? Who looks open? The answers are all there, but if your mind is rushing ahead to your point, you'll miss them. Sometimes, the energy in the room is loud and upbeat. Sometimes, it's cautious and slow. Sometimes, people are curious. Sometimes, they're guarded. You have to feel it, not assume it. Every group, every space, every setting has its own rhythm. And if you want to connect, you have to match that rhythm before you lead it. Adjusting your tone doesn't mean faking who you are. It means respecting where people are. It means being smart enough to meet them there, and skilled enough to guide them forward. It's not manipulation, it's emotional intelligence. You don't walk into a hospital waiting room with the tone you'd use at a birthday party. You don't speak to a nervous team the same way you speak to a confident crowd. You don't joke around with someone who's clearly upset. You learn to notice. And when you notice, you can adapt. Now, adjusting your tone doesn't mean you become someone else. It means you become more in control of how you show up. Some people walk into every room with the same energy, and they wonder why things don't go well. But smart people, people who lead, who inspire, who influence, they walk in and feel the space. They respect the moment, and then they decide how to speak, how to move, how to respond. That's what gives them presence. That's what earns them trust. Let's make this practical. You walk into a team meeting. The mood is off. People are quiet. They're not making eye contact. You plan to come in with high energy and push your agenda, but something's clearly wrong. Now, you have a choice. You can charge ahead with your plan and lose the room. Or you can read what's going on and ask, "Hey, before we get into things, everyone okay?" That small shift in tone shows awareness. It shows care. It changes the direction of everything. And once people feel seen, they engage. Or maybe you're giving a presentation. The room feels flat. You plan to keep it safe and slow, but now you realize they're bored. You adjust. You speed it up. You raise your energy. You add more movement. You bring life into the room, not by changing who you are, but by being aware enough to meet the moment. Tone can bring people closer, or it can push them away. It can make people feel safe, or it can make them shut down. If you want to lead people, influence people, or just relate to people, tone is everything, and the key to tone is awareness. Emotional awareness, situational awareness. It's the ability to step out of your head and into the moment. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to care enough to notice. You need to be open enough to shift. You need to be willing to adjust without losing your message. That's a skill, and it's one you build every day by paying attention. Start watching how people react to your tone, not your words, your tone. Watch their eyes, their body language. Do they lean in or pull away? Do they smile or stiffen up? Do they stay silent or start to share? Those are the signs, those are your cues. And once you start seeing them, you'll know exactly how to respond. And remember this, the room is always telling you something. But if your ego is too loud, you won't hear it. If your plan is too rigid, you won't see it. And if your mindset is too self-centered, you won't feel it. That's why the first step to reading the room is humility. The second is awareness. And the third is adaptability. Once you get those three things working together, your ability to connect multiplies. You'll walk into tough situations and bring calm. You'll walk into uncertain moments and bring clarity. You'll walk into low energy rooms and lift them up, not because you force anything, but because you understand timing, tone, and presence. And this is not about performance. It's about leadership. It's about emotional control. It's about respect. Because when you respect the room starts to respect you. When you match the energy, then raise it with purpose, people follow. They listen, they open up. Because they know you're not just pushing your own voice, you're paying attention to theirs. This isn't about being loud or being quiet. It's about being right for the moment. Some moments need strength. Some need stillness. Some need humor. Some need straight talk. The better you get at reading the room, the faster you'll know what's needed. And the more often you give people what they need, the more often they'll come to you. This applies everywhere, in business, in friendships, in family, in leadership, in life. Your ability to connect depends on your ability to adjust. And that's a decision. It's a discipline. You can train it every day. You start by walking into every room with your eyes open. You pause, you notice, you feel, and then you speak, not from habit, but from awareness. And that changes everything. Because once you learn to read the room and adjust your tone fast, you'll stop missing moments. You'll stop losing people. You'll start connecting. You'll start leading. You'll start rising, not by force, but by presence. That's the power of tone. That's the skill of awareness. That's the art of reading the room. Chapter 5. Ask better questions to connect on a deeper level. If you want to connect with people in a way that lasts, you have to stop asking surface-level questions and start asking better ones, questions that make people think, feel, and open up. Most conversations go nowhere because people are asking the wrong things. They ask out of habit. They ask to fill the silence. They ask what everyone else asks. And then they wonder why the conversation stays shallow. But connection doesn't happen on the surface. It happens when you show someone you care enough to go deeper. Asking better questions doesn't mean asking harder ones. It means asking real ones. Not the kind you throw out without thought, but the kind that makes a person feel like their answer matters. It means asking questions that show you're present, that you're not just passing time, that you actually want to know who they are, not just what they do. Think about how most people talk. How's work? How's the family? What have you been up to? There's nothing wrong with those questions, but they don't open the door to connection. They just pass the time. They make people feel like you're checking a box. If you want to build trust, if you want to understand someone deeply, you've got to ask questions that make them feel safe enough to be real. The way you ask something tells the other person what kind of space you're offering. If your tone is sharp, they shut down. If your energy is rushed, they keep it short. But if your voice is steady, if your posture is relaxed, if your eyes are focused, they start to feel like they can actually answer. And that's the moment where things begin to shift. You don't need complicated language. You just need sincerity. Instead of "How are you?" try "What's been on your mind lately?" Instead of "What do you do?" try "What got you into the work you're doing now?" Instead of "How's life?" try "What's something you're working through right now?" These kinds of questions say, "I'm not just here for the polite talk. I'm here for you." People are waiting for someone to care enough to ask the right question. They want to talk about what matters to them, but they don't always know how to bring it up. They want to share their ideas, their goals, their fears, but only if they believe the person listening won't judge them. That's what a good question does. It tells the other person, it's safe here, you can be real, and when someone does open up, your next question matters even more. Don't shift the topic, don't jump to your own story. Stay with them, follow their lead. Ask how long have you felt that way? Ask what made that so important to you? Ask what do you think you'll do next? These are the questions that create closeness. These are the questions that turn a simple talk into a meaningful connection. The truth is, the quality of your relationships depends on the quality of your questions. If you keep everything light and easy, your connections will stay light and easy. But if you want depth, if you want loyalty, respect and understanding, you need to go beyond the script. You need to ask about the things that actually shape a person. Their past, their struggles, their values, their growth. Not to dig into their life, but to walk with them through it. You'll be surprised how quickly people open up when they feel someone is truly interested. Not in their status, but in their story. Not in their title, but in their truth. That kind of interest is rare, and people remember it. Asking better questions isn't just for personal relationships. It's a skill that changes everything in business, leadership and teamwork. Leaders who ask the right questions build stronger teams. They understand what drives their people. They uncover problems early. They prevent small issues from becoming big ones. Not because they had all the answers, but because they cared enough to ask. The same is true in sales, in coaching, in teaching, anywhere people are involved. When you ask better questions, people open up. They tell you what they need. They tell you what they fear. They tell you what they hope for. And when you know those things, you can respond with insight, with care, with real value. This isn't about interrogating people. It's about being curious in the right way. It's about listening for clues. If someone mentions a dream they had years ago, ask why they stopped. If someone says they've had a tough week, don't move on. Ask what happened. These are the moments where trust is built. When you stay with someone in the part they almost skipped over, they feel it. They notice, and that creates something stronger than any small talk ever could. Make it a habit to ask questions that show you care. Questions that bring out more than facts. Questions that help someone explore what they're feeling or thinking. And here's the most important part. Be ready to listen. Don't ask just to ask. Ask because you're ready to hear whatever comes next. Some people will answer quickly. Others will need time. Respect both. Don't rush them. Don't fill the silence. Let them find the words. Let them trust that you won't cut them off. That you won't fix them. That you're just there, with them, in the moment. There's power in a well-timed question. A question asked with care can heal. It can inspire. It can reveal what someone didn't even realize they needed to say. And sometimes, that one question can change everything, for them and for you. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Pay attention to what people say. Pay even more attention to what they don't say. And when something matters to them, ask about it. Let them see that you noticed, that you remembered, that you value their thoughts enough to explore them with them. Ask about what excites them. Ask about what challenges them. Ask what they've learned from something hard. Ask what they're proud of. Ask what they hope for. And then just be quiet. Let them speak. Let them think. Let them feel heard. This kind of connection can't be rushed. It can't be faked. But once you build it, it lasts. People won't forget the person who made them feel understood. who made them feel seen, who helped them open up without fear. So stop looking for the right words to impress people. Start looking for the right questions to understand them. Because when you do that, everything changes. Conversations become deeper, relationships become stronger, and you become someone others trust. Not because you talk well, but because you ask well, because you care enough to wonder, because you respect people enough to listen, because you've learned that asking the right question at the right time is more powerful than any speech. That's how you build connection. That's how you earn trust. That's how you make people feel valued. By asking better questions. Not once, but every day. In every room. With every person. That's the skill. That's the habit. And that's the difference. Chapter 6. Control your reactions to handle tough conversations wisely. In life, the way you respond in difficult moments reveals everything about your self-control, your mindset, and your emotional maturity. When things get tense, when the room feels heavy, when someone says something sharp or unfair, how you react is the difference between escalating the problem or handling it with wisdom. Most people lose control in tough conversations. They raise their voice, they get defensive, they shut down. And once that happens, the chance to lead, to influence, or to build trust is gone. Because you can't communicate clearly when your emotions are running the show. You can't solve problems when you're stuck in reaction mode. Real strength isn't about being louder. It's not about getting the last word. It's not about proving a point. It's about being able to stay calm, even when you're frustrated, even when you're hurt, even when someone else isn't being fair. It's about having the discipline to take a breath before you speak. It's about choosing your words, not letting them spill out unchecked. Because once something leaves your mouth, you can't take it back. People remember how you made them feel in the hardest conversations. They remember whether you stayed composed or lost control. And that moment shapes how they see you from then on. If you want people to respect you, to take you seriously, to see you as someone who can be trusted, you have to learn to manage your reactions. You have to be steady when others are shaky. You have to be the one who can face tension without adding more to it. This isn't easy. It's one of the hardest things to do, because when emotions rise, the natural instinct is to react. You feel misunderstood, and you want to defend yourself. You feel disrespected, and you want to push back. You feel blamed, and you want to explain your side right away. But those first reactions often make things worse. You end up saying things you regret. You damage relationships you care about. You lose your peace over something that could have been handled with calm. What separates people who handle conflict well from those who fall apart is one key habit. They pause. They don't jump into emotion. They don't let anger guide their voice. They stop, even for a second, and they ask themselves, what's the right way to handle this? Not, how do I win? Not, how do I prove them wrong? But how do I handle this with strength, not ego? You have to be more committed to understanding than reacting. More committed to clarity than being right. You can't lead with emotion and expect to keep control. Emotion is powerful, but it's not always wise. You need to learn how to feel it without being ruled by it. You can feel frustrated and still speak with calm. You can feel disappointed and still respond with respect. That's maturity. That's emotional control. And that's the kind of strength people follow. It starts with your breath. When tension hits, slow down your breathing. Don't rush your words. Don't interrupt. Don't try to fix everything in one sentence. Let the other person speak, even if you disagree. Listen fully, not just to their words, but to what's behind their words. A lot of the time, people say things out of fear, stress, or pain, not because they want to attack you. If you can see past the surface and respond to the real issue, you'll be 10 times more effective. Your tone matters just as much as your words. You can say the right thing with the wrong tone and still cause damage. But if your tone is steady, respectful, calm, you create space for understanding. You make it easier for the other person to stay open instead of shutting down. You don't add heat to a fire that's already burning. You bring it down, word by word, breath by breath. There's power in not reacting. When you stay composed, you gain clarity. You hear more. You see more. You're able to think clearly, not from emotion but from principle. And when you speak from principle, you protect your integrity. You don't say things you'll regret. You don't make problems worse. You don't damage your name or your character. You handle the moment like someone who knows who they are and what they stand for. Some people will try to provoke you. They'll test your patience. They'll say things just to get a reaction. And when you stay calm, they'll push harder. But if you stay steady, if you stay in control, eventually they realize they're not going to throw you off. And that changes everything. You shift the energy. You take back the power. Because the one who controls the tone controls the conversation. But let's be honest. Sometimes it's not other people you're fighting. Sometimes it's yourself. It's your old habits. It's your quick temper. It's your pride. It's the belief that you need to defend yourself right away, or you'll lose respect. But real respect isn't earned by shouting louder. It's earned by staying calm when it counts. It's earned by responding with wisdom when you could have reacted with anger. Practice this every day. Don't wait for a crisis to test your self-control. Practice in small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when a coworker says something off, when your plans fall apart, practice staying calm. Practice taking a breath. Practice choosing your words instead of spilling them. And when the big moments come, when the conversations are tough, when the stakes are high, you'll be ready. You won't panic. You won't lash out. You'll listen. You'll think. You'll speak with intention. And people will notice. They'll see you as someone who can be trusted in pressure. Someone who doesn't fold. Someone who leads by example. This kind of self-control creates real influence. People will seek your input because they know you won't overreact. They'll come to you in tough moments because they know you bring clarity, not chaos. They'll respect your words because they're not thrown around. They're chosen. And that respect is worth more than any quick win in an argument. Handling tough conversations wisely isn't about being passive. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing that your peace is more valuable than being right. It's about leading the moment instead of being led by it. And the more you build this habit, the more powerful your presence becomes. So the next time you feel the tension rise, don't speak right away. Feel it. Breathe. Think. Then respond in a way that reflects the kind of person you're becoming, not the kind of emotion you're feeling. That's strength. That's wisdom. And that's how you grow. One conversation at a time, one reaction at a time, one calm decision at a time. And before you know it, you'll be known not for your temper, not for your pride, but for your steadiness, your clarity, and your control. And that's a reputation that will serve you for life. Chapter 7. Practice empathy to grow stronger human relationships daily. Empathy is not about agreeing with everyone. It's not about pretending to feel something you don't. It's about choosing to understand someone else's experience, even when it's different from yours. It's about setting aside your own perspective long enough to see the world through someone else's eyes. That one simple shift, what must this feel like for them, can change the way you treat people, solve problems, lead others, and build meaningful relationships. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need money to make people feel valued. But you do need empathy, because when people feel understood, they feel safe. When they feel safe, they open up. And when they open up, the real connection begins. You can't build trust without empathy. You can't grow relationships without empathy. You can't influence people without empathy. Every strong relationship is rooted in it, whether it's in business, friendship, family, or community. Empathy isn't a one-time action. It's a daily habit. It's how you look at people when they're struggling. It's how you listen when they're talking about something painful. It's how you show up when they feel alone. It's the small decisions you make every single day to care just a little more than you used to. And it has to be genuine, because people can tell when you're pretending. They know when you're just going through the motions. But when your concern is real, when your presence is steady, when your words are sincere, they feel it. You don't need to fix people to be there for them. Some situations aren't about solving anything. They're about standing beside someone without needing to control their pain or change their pace. Most people don't want advice when they're hurting. They want presence. They want patience. They want to know someone sees them, hears them, and respects what they're feeling without judgment. And you don't need to fully understand someone's situation to offer empathy. You don't need to know all the details. You don't have to say the perfect thing. All you need is the willingness to care. All you need is the ability to sit with their story without needing to make it about you. That kind of empathy creates space for healing, for understanding, for deeper connection. Sometimes empathy means staying silent, just listening, just being there, not filling the space with opinions, not rushing to cheer them up, just giving someone your presence without pressure. Other times it means asking, what would help right now, or do you want to talk or just sit? That kind of question tells people you're not there to control, you're there to support. Every day you have moments to practice empathy. When someone looks distracted at work, when a friend cancels plans without saying much, when someone speaks with frustration instead of kindness, you can choose to get irritated, or you can choose to look deeper. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe they're carrying something they haven't shared. Maybe they're hurting in a way you don't see. Empathy pauses long enough to consider what might be going on beneath the surface. It's easy to judge what we don't understand. It's easy to assume someone's lazy, rude, cold, or distant, but empathy doesn't jump to conclusions. Empathy slows down. It asks questions. It gives the benefit of the doubt. It remembers that everyone's carrying something invisible. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is offer patience, not pressure. Empathy also helps you respond to conflict differently. Instead of fighting to win, you look for the why behind the behavior. You ask, why did they react that way? Or what fear might be underneath their words? This doesn't mean you let people mistreat you. It means you respond with clarity and calm instead of reacting with emotion and ego. That's strength. That's maturity. That's how real peace is made, by seeing people not as enemies but as human beings trying to deal with life the best they can. And the more you practice empathy, the more self-aware you become. Because when you understand others, you also start understanding yourself. You realize your own triggers. You notice your reactions. You grow in patience. You start treating others the way you wish you were treated when you were struggling. You begin to offer to others what you used to withhold from yourself: kindness, understanding, grace. This isn't just about relationships. Empathy makes you a better decision maker, a better leader, a better communicator. You'll say the right things because you'll see what people really need. You'll give better feedback because you'll understand how it will land. You'll build stronger teams, stronger families, stronger friendships, not because you're perfect, but because you're present. Empathy is also what allows people to feel seen, not for what they do, but for who they are. And that's something people never forget. They might forget your compliments, they might forget your opinions, but they won't forget the time you looked them in the eye and really heard them. They won't forget how you stayed when things got heavy. They won't forget how you didn't rush them to move on before they were ready. That kind of presence sticks with people. It lasts. So how do you grow in empathy? You start by noticing more, by slowing down, by asking better questions and listening to the answers without planning your response. You let people finish their sentences. You notice their tone, their posture, their silence. You make space for their emotions without making it about your comfort. You don't correct them when they're vulnerable. You don't tell them how they should feel. You just meet them where they are, with care and respect. You also make time for people, even when it's not convenient, because empathy is shown in effort. It's not about saying, "I'm here for you" when it's easy. It's about showing up when it's not. And you keep showing up, not because you're trying to fix them, but because you believe they're worth the effort. That kind of consistency builds relationships that last. That kind of presence changes lives. Empathy won't make every relationship perfect, but it will make every interaction more meaningful. And over time, those moments add up. They build a reputation. People start to know you as someone who listens, someone who cares, someone who doesn't just talk about love or respect, but lives it. And that kind of person becomes rare. That kind of person becomes unforgettable. The good news is, empathy is not a gift for a few. It's a skill that anyone can build. It's a muscle that grows every time you choose to care instead of criticize, listen instead of lecture, stay instead of shut down. You don't need to be soft to be empathetic. You don't need to lower your standards. You can have strong values and still care deeply for others. In fact, that balance of strength and compassion is what makes you powerful. So today and every day, practice empathy, not for show, not for applause, but because people matter, because your presence matters, because every person you meet is facing something you can't see, and your decision to care might be the one thing that helps them keep going. Empathy isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's courage. It's one of the most important choices you can make, not just for others but for yourself. Because when you live with empathy, you live with purpose, and that purpose strengthens every relationship you have. One moment at a time, one choice at a time, one human connection at a time. Chapter 8. Spot hidden emotions by learning subtle body language. People don't always say what they feel, but they always show it. You can learn more about someone by watching their body language than by listening to their words alone. The truth is, most communication is non-verbal. It's not what's said, it's how it's said. It's in the posture, the eyes, the tone, the pace, the hands, the silence between sentences. If you want to truly understand others, if you want to build trust, influence, and meaningful connection, you have to learn how to read what's not being said. You have to learn how to spot hidden emotions by noticing the subtle signals people give off every day. This isn't about guessing or making assumptions. It's about paying close attention. It's about staying present. When you walk into a room, the emotional tone is already there. People are already speaking through their expressions, their movements, their energy. If you're only focused on the words, you'll miss the truth. But if you train your eyes and ears to notice the small cues, you'll start to pick up everything you used to overlook. Start by observing the eyes. Eyes tell you when someone's confident, anxious, distracted, or upset. People may smile with their mouth, but their eyes always tell the truth. When someone avoids eye contact, they may feel uncertain or disconnected. When someone looks away right after saying something important, they might be afraid of your reaction. When someone stares too hard without blinking, they might be overcompensating for nervousness. Pay attention. These aren't tricks. These are human signals. We all have them. We all show them. We just don't all see them. Look at posture. A person sitting upright, shoulders back, chin up, is usually feeling stable or ready. A person who shrinks into their chair, folds their arms tight or leans away might be protecting themselves. Not from you, but maybe from the situation. If someone keeps their hands hidden, clenched or moving too much, that can mean discomfort. If they fidget with their sleeves or phone or jewelry while speaking, they might be unsure of what they're saying or unsure of how it'll be received. Watch the pace of movement. Fast gestures can show energy or anxiety. Slow movements might mean someone is holding back. Pauses in speech can be just as telling as the words themselves. Silence isn't empty. Sometimes silence is where the real message lives. Someone might say, "I'm fine," but there's a long pause, a sigh, a downward glance. That's not fine. That's something deeper. And if you're listening, really listening, you'll catch it. Facial expressions don't lie for long. People try to mask their emotions, but the truth shows up in micro-expressions, those split-second reactions before the mask goes back on. A quick flash of fear before a smile. A moment of sadness before a joke. You don't need to point it out. You don't need to confront it. But noticing it allows you to respond with understanding, instead of just reacting to what's on the surface. When someone's talking to you, notice their alignment. Are their words, tone and body language all saying the same thing? If not, trust the body over the words. Most people are conditioned to say what's acceptable, not what's real. But their body will always reveal what they feel. If they say they're excited, but their voice is flat, and their eyes are tired, something's off. If they say they're fine but they haven't smiled all day, you know there's more underneath. Now here's the part that matters most. Don't use this awareness to manipulate people. Use it to connect with them. This isn't about reading people so you can outsmart them. It's about being more aware, more caring, more responsive to their unspoken needs. When you notice someone's discomfort, you don't call it out publicly, you adjust. You lower your tone, you slow your pace. You create a safer space for them. When you see someone struggling, you don't force them to talk, you give them presence, not pressure. That's what makes people trust you. That's what makes people feel seen. Most people are surrounded by others who don't really see them. They're talked over, they're brushed off, they're misunderstood. But when you take the time to notice their signals and respond with care, you stand out. You become someone they feel comfortable around, someone they respect, someone they want to be around, not because you're flashy, but because you're present. Reading subtle body language is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. It starts by slowing down. Stop rushing through conversations, stop zoning out while someone else talks. Be there. Watch. Listen. Use your awareness like a muscle. The more you practice it, the sharper it gets. You'll start picking up signals before the words even come. You'll start understanding people faster and deeper than you ever have. And this changes every relationship in your life. At work, you'll notice when your team is overwhelmed before they say it. You'll know when someone's lost motivation even if they keep smiling. You'll see the moment someone's energy drops, and you'll be able to lead them better because you saw it first. In your personal life, you'll build trust faster. You'll be able to comfort someone without them needing to explain. You'll resolve conflicts quicker because you'll understand what's really causing the tension. And you'll become someone others feel safe around, not because you say the perfect thing, but because you feel the truth behind what's being said. And it's not about reading minds, it's about reading presence. Every person brings something invisible into the room with them. A feeling, a memory, a weight. The more tuned in you are, the more of it you'll notice. And the more of it you notice, the more thoughtful your response becomes. This awareness also protects you. You'll know when someone's not being honest. You'll feel when a conversation is heading in the wrong direction. You'll sense when something's not adding up. That's not negativity. It's intelligence. It's awareness. It helps you navigate the world smarter and with less regret. But here's the part most miss. You can't read others clearly if you're disconnected from yourself. If you're always distracted, always anxious, always stuck in your own head, you won't see what others are trying to show you. That's why self-awareness and empathy go hand in hand with reading body language. You have to quiet your own noise to hear the message in someone else's presence. This is a skill that pays off every day. It makes you better in conversations, in negotiations, in leadership, in friendship. It makes you a better parent, partner, teacher, and teammate. And you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to decide to be more aware today than you were yesterday. Look people in the eye. Watch their hands. Notice their breath. Listen for the pauses. Pay attention to the shifts. Ask yourself, what are they really feeling right now? And don't rush to judge. Don't rush to fix. Just notice. Just care. And the more you do that, the stronger your human connection becomes, because you're no longer just hearing people, you're understanding them. That's what makes a difference. That's what creates real influence. That's what builds deeper, stronger, lasting relationships. Seeing what's unspoken and responding with care, with presence, and with respect. That's the power of learning to read subtle body language. That's the beginning of a whole new level of human connection. Chapter 9. Speak with clarity so your message builds respect. If you want people to listen to you, to follow you, to respect you, then you have to learn how to speak clearly. You have to say what you mean in a way that's direct, steady, and easy to understand. When your words are clear, people trust you. When your words are vague, people hesitate. Respect is built on clarity. Confidence is built on clarity. Leadership, communication, and influence all start with one simple habit. Say what needs to be said, without confusion, without clutter, and without hesitation. Too many people lose the power of their message because they're afraid to be direct. They dance around the point. They over-explain. They say too much and end up saying nothing. Or they say too little and hope people will read between the lines. But people don't have time to guess what you mean. They don't want to decode your message. They want to understand you, and they want to know that you understand yourself. Speaking clearly doesn't mean speaking perfectly. It means speaking with purpose. You don't need big words. You don't need long speeches. You need to be honest, thoughtful, and specific. When you're clear, people know where you stand. They know what you expect. They know what matters to you. And when people understand you, they start to respect you, because they don't feel like you're hiding behind confusion. There's strength in simplicity. The clearer your words, the stronger your presence. Think about the people who made an impact on you, the ones who helped you think differently, the ones who led with wisdom. They didn't use complicated language. They used words that made sense. They spoke with calm. They were direct without being harsh. They got to the point, and they did it with care. That's what made their message stick. When you speak with clarity, people don't just hear you, they feel you. Your message lands. It cuts through the noise. It stays with them after the conversation ends. Not because it was loud, but because it was clean. Clear language creates trust. People feel safer around someone who says what they mean and means what they say. There's no guessing, no hidden meanings, just truth, delivered with strength and respect. This isn't just about public speaking. This is about how you talk to your team, how you talk to your family, how you talk to a friend when something's off. It's about giving feedback that's honest and useful. It's about setting boundaries that are firm and fair. It's about asking for what you need without guilt or apology. Every time you speak with clarity, you build credibility, and credibility is what earns respect in the long run. Clarity also keeps you from being misunderstood. Most arguments happen because someone wasn't clear. Most broken expectations come from poor communication. If you want to avoid drama, speak directly. If you want fewer mistakes, give clear instructions. If you want real understanding, slow down and make sure your message is simple. Don't assume people know what you mean. Make it easy for them to know. Being clear doesn't mean being cold. You can speak with kindness and still be direct. You can be warm and still be honest. In fact, when you mix clarity with care, your words carry even more weight. People listen not just because they have to, but because they want to. They know you're not wasting time. They know you're bringing value. That's what earns long-term respect. Practice this in small ways. Next time you send a message, read it and ask, is this clear? Before a conversation, ask, what's the one thing I need to say? Don't go into conversations hoping things will make sense on their own. Decide what matters most and say it directly. If you're giving advice, say it in one sentence before you explain it. If you're asking for something, state it clearly before you explain why. Lead with clarity, then support it. Watch your tone too. People hear how you say it before they hear what you say. If your tone is unsure, your message gets lost. If your tone is scattered, your words feel uncertain. But if your tone is steady and calm, your words gain strength. Speak like you believe what you're saying. Speak like you've thought it through. That's what makes people listen, and clarity isn't just about words, it's about timing. Say the right thing at the right time. Don't wait too long to speak. Don't hold back the truth until the damage is done. Speak up early. Speak up calmly. Speak up with intention. You'll avoid a lot of confusion and pain just by saying the right thing a little sooner. Clarity also means saying no when you need to. Too many people avoid the word no because they want to be liked. But every time you avoid being clear, you trade short-term comfort for long-term confusion. Be honest, be respectful, and say no when something doesn't align with your values, your time, or your priorities. People might not like it at first, but they'll respect it later. And more importantly, you'll respect yourself. Being clear also means being consistent. Don't say one thing today and another tomorrow. People trust what they can count on. Say what you mean and follow through. If you change your mind, explain it clearly. Don't leave people in the dark. Don't disappear when things get uncomfortable. Show up. Speak up. Own your words. That's what earns respect. Not perfection, but consistency. If you want to grow in clarity, start by getting clear with yourself. What do you believe? What do you stand for? What matters most to you? When you're clear internally, your words naturally become clearer externally. But if your thoughts are messy, your words will be messy too. So slow down, get clear before you speak. Then speak in a way that reflects who you are and what you value. This isn't about being better than anyone. It's about being honest, grounded, and reliable. The more clearly you speak, the more clearly people see you. And when people see you for who you really are, they can choose to follow you, respect you, and trust you, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Every day gives you chances to practice this, in meetings, in texts, in tough conversations, in moments of conflict, in moments of praise. Choose clarity, choose strength, choose to speak like someone who knows their words have power and who uses that power with care. Respect is earned through how you show up, how you carry yourself, and how you communicate. When your words are clean, your presence becomes strong. When your message is clear, your influence grows. And when you choose clarity over comfort, truth over fluff, honesty over hesitation, you become someone others can count on. That's what makes your voice matter. That's what gives your message weight. That's what builds real respect. Chapter 10. Lead every interaction with purpose and emotional strength. Every time you speak to someone, you are leading, whether you realize it or not. Every interaction either builds something or breaks something. It moves people closer or pushes them further. It creates trust or creates distance. And if you want to be someone who leaves a positive mark, someone who earns respect, builds relationships, and creates influence, you have to lead every interaction with purpose and emotional strength. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need permission. All you need is the decision to show up with intention every time you connect with someone. People are always watching how you handle yourself. They notice if you bring calm into stressful moments, or if you let emotion control you. They watch how you treat others when things don't go your way. They remember how you act when you're under pressure, when you're tired, when you're misunderstood. That's when your emotional strength is tested. That's when your real character is revealed. And that's when your ability to lead, not with noise but with purpose, truly matters. To lead an interaction with purpose, you have to first know what you stand for. You have to know why you're speaking, what your goal is, and how you want the other person to feel by the time the conversation ends. Most people speak without thinking. They react. They respond based on mood, not mission. They let their emotions do the talking. But if you want to lead, you can't afford that. You have to be centered. You have to be aware of your own energy before you bring it into someone else's space. Every room you walk into has a mood. Every person you meet has a mindset. And your job isn't to match the energy, you lead it. That doesn't mean forcing people to feel something. It means choosing to be grounded, calm, steady, focused, especially when others are not. That's what real leadership looks like. Not in big speeches, but in quiet control. Not in domination, but in presence. Emotional strength means you don't let little things break your focus. It means you don't take things personally that were never about you. It means you can handle correction, resistance, or disagreement without losing your grip. It means you don't get pulled into chaos just because others are in a storm. You stand your ground, not with aggression, but with certainty. When someone comes to you with tension, you don't add to it. You anchor the conversation. You ask questions. You listen fully. You speak calmly. You redirect the energy instead of fueling the fire. When someone is struggling, you don't rush to fix them. You meet them with patience. You give them space to speak. You allow them to be human without trying to control how they feel. That's emotional strength. That's leadership. That's what earns long-term trust. Purpose doesn't mean you script every word. It means you speak with intention. You think before you respond. You choose your tone. You lead the moment instead of being led by it. Even in casual conversations, you can still bring purpose. You can still bring value. You can ask something meaningful. You can offer encouragement. You can create a space that makes the other person feel better just by talking to you. Purpose gives direction to your interactions. Emotional strength gives them depth. Without both, your words can become empty. Without both, your presence can feel scattered. But when you combine them, you become someone who carries weight, not because you're loud, but because you're aligned. You're aligned with what matters to you. You're aligned with how you want others to experience you. And that alignment is what makes you effective. There's no moment too small to lead with purpose. When you're ordering food, when you're checking in on a friend, when you're giving feedback, when you're handling a disagreement, every interaction is a chance to bring clarity, calm, and respect into the space. Every conversation is a chance to show the strength of your presence without raising your voice. The impact of your leadership starts with how you treat people when nothing's at stake. And when there is something at stake, when emotions are high, when pressure is on, that's when your purpose and strength matter even more. That's when most people crack. They get defensive, they lash out, they rush to end the discomfort. But you don't, you stay centered. You hold the conversation steady, you respond instead of react. You focus on resolution, not revenge. You carry the moment with discipline, not drama. This kind of leadership doesn't always get attention right away. It's quiet, it's subtle, but over time people notice. They feel safer around you. They bring you into more conversations. They ask for your input, not because you force your way in, but because your way of leading earns trust. And trust always leads to more influence, more connection, more opportunity. To build this kind of presence, you have to be intentional every day. You have to check in with yourself before you check in with others. Ask yourself, what kind of energy am I carrying into this moment? If you're rushed, slow down. If you're angry, breathe. If you're distracted, focus. You don't need to be perfect, but you need to be conscious. You need to be aware of what you're bringing into the room and what kind of impact you want to leave behind. Emotional strength is not about holding everything in. It's about knowing how to express things in a healthy way. It's about showing up with honesty and grace, even when things are messy. It's about staying patient when conversations are slow. It's about choosing respect, even when you're frustrated. And every time you choose that, you become more powerful, not through force but through control. Leading with purpose and strength is not about being